Noah's flood. This one is for theistic evolutionists, who are people who believe that God used evolution as a tool for creation. They believe in both. I came across this when I debated the local dean of science, and I presented that either everything that we see in the universe is a result of creation or of evolution. I said either or, and he rejected my premise, refused to debate, because he said he believed in both, which is a relatively common position, that God uses evolution as a tool to create, and they believe in both. I think it's not contradictory, but it's completely against the character and nature of God. There's theologic arguments, like Answers in Genesis uses, you can't have death before sin, and the number of deaths before the creation of man or the evolution of man would be, incomprehensible. And there's other ones like the sovereignty of God, which means that God is in control. Everybody that's a believer believes in sovereignty. So if God's in control, he can't use randomness of evolution as a way to create, because randomness and sovereignty and control are exact opposites. But besides the theologic arguments, there's physical evidence that is actually the best position and the best explanation of this. And how this works is that in the geologic evidence in the earth, we see the layers in the earth, and then we see an order of complexity of the fossils within the layers, where the least complex is at the bottom and the most complex is at the top, and there's a spectrum. And we're told by the evolutionists that the layers in the earth, the geologic column, and the order of complexity of the fossils is a result of evolution over millions of years. But for the Bible-believing community, Noah's flood is expected to create the exact same geologic evidence. Kind of interesting. We would expect the layers, and we would expect the order of complexity of the fossils. Noah's flood was not, 40 days and 40 nights of rain, like everybody knows. The waters continued to flood the earth for 150 days. There was underwater volcanoes and massive flooding. And it took so long for this to settle out that Noah was on the boat over a year for 371 days. And then as the layers, as the water started settling out, you have this process of sedimentation, which has many factors. There's current flow, temperature, salinity, mineralization, particle size, and all of these things create layers as this catastrophic event that transformed the globe settles out. You get layers in the earth because of the sedimentation factors. And then within these layers, you would see things that get buried that then become fossils. You have to get buried to become a fossil. And the things at the bottom would be the marine life that are all shells, because they would fall first and fast, and have amphibians above that, and then mammals would be at the top. You would see very few humans or birds, because they could escape burial. They would get, they'd drown, but they would get, they'd bloat and float and, get disintegrated and decompose, but they wouldn't become a fossil. So the layers in the earth and the order of complexity is exactly what we would expect from Noah's flood. But here's the key point. There's only one set of layers in the earth. So this one is either or. It's either a result of evolution, or it's a result of creation and Noah's flood. So for the theistic evolutionists who want to believe in both, you couldn't believe in the Genesis chapter 7, Noah's flood, absolutely a global flood, clear, it's not, that's not controversial. Noah's flood was a global flood. And that would result in all of the geologic evidence that we see. So if you want to believe in both, you either have to believe that Noah's flood left no evidence in the earth and everything is a result of evolution with the geologic column, but you can't have, there's only one set of layers, so you can't believe in both. And the people who believe in Noah's flood think all of the things that we see is a result of Noah's flood, the layers and the order of complexity. And since there's only one set, you can't believe in both. God transformed the earth, and that is what we see in the geologic evidence in the earth. Creation is true.